Hey. Hey, so got Church right bunch, F, shuttle, Tom and Jerry right, yellow. Orange, 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 let's go!
13 seconds to go in the overtime.
Set. We're good, we're good!
A touchdown wins the game.
Set.
Right side touchdown! Kansas City! There is a back-to-back Super Bowl champion, and it is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Patrick Mahomes mic'd up on the last play of overtime when the Chiefs scored a touchdown pass on corn dog with a little ketchup and mustard, a variation on a play that resulted in the touchdown last year in Super Bowl 57. Chiefs get the win in overtime on the second possession. And one of the things, Chris, that will continue to resonate in the aftermath of the Super Bowl, and I think will be very instructive for teams in the future, and also fans when this happens the next time we go to overtime in the postseason with the rules that guarantee a possession for both teams. Do you kick? Do you receive? Do you defer? What do you do? What's the strategy? What's the analytics? How does it all work? There was a lot also raised in the aftermath of the game about what the players knew regarding this new frontier of overtime that guarantees a possession for both teams. Let's hear and witness the contrast between Kyle Juszczyk, the 49ers fullback, what he knew, what the 49ers knew, and Chris Jones from the Chiefs about what he and the Chiefs knew once overtime was activated. Have a listen.
You know what? I didn't even realize that the playoff rules were different in overtime, so I assumed you just want the ball because you score a touchdown and win, but I guess that's not the case. So I don't totally know the strategy there. No, we haven't talked about it, no.
They're crazy. Yeah. Because the overtime rules has changed where both teams get the ball, no matter who scores. So, originally you want to let the other team get the ball, stop them holding the three, so you know where you got it. Or if you stop them, they punt it, then all you have to do is kick three. For 2 weeks, we talked about the new overtime rule and how we was going to get a ball to the opponent. If they scored, we was going for two at the end of the game. We kind of rehearsed it, and yeah.
So Chris Jones with much more detail than Kyle Juszczyk had. And on one hand, you can say, does it really matter what the players know? On the other hand, I think it speaks to the level of detail that the Chiefs would naturally bring to the table, Chris, because they're the reason the rule was changed. They've lived this. They've been in a game where it went to overtime when it was touchdown, 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 touchdown. Whoever gets the ball first in overtime is going to score a touchdown. Oh, well, if the Bills had gotten the ball, they might have scored a touchdown too. So I think the Chiefs have more natural reason. I'm not making excuses for the 49ers here because I think you need to have all plans in place for all contingencies, but it seems like it permeated the Chiefs organization because they've lived it.
Yeah, I don't disagree, Mike, right? That's the first thought that came to my mind. The Chiefs are kind of the inventors of this new rule, or it was changed because of Mahomes and Josh Allen. I think the other thing that jumps to me is it does feel Belichickian, right? A little bit. You and I know stories, right? In that Super Bowl 51 with the Falcons and the Patriots leading up to the preparation of the game. Belichick had a feeling it might be an overtime type-ish game. He was preparing his coordinators for extra 2-point plays and things of that nature for that moment. It sounds like Andy Reid was very aware that this game would be that close and they could go to overtime, and he explained this to his team and how they would approach it. I mean, that's phenomenal football. That's phenomenal foresight by one of the greatest coaches of all time. So I think you line all those things up, Mike, and then you add on that something that we talk about all the time, right? The Chiefs are junkies. They are junkies. Like, they're obsessed with the sport. They're obsessed with all sports for the most part. And that's what makes them special is guys like Mahomes and Chris Jones and Kelsey. We see them watching sporting events always on top of everything, tweeting at it, whatever on X. I mean, so, yeah, it shows you why they're great. They're into every facet of the game. Now, yeah, there's some conversation to be had on, does it really matter if the players know the exact rules? I'm not sure. I don't know. I do kind of find it unimaginable that Kyle Juszczyk doesn't even know that that was a real thing. That is kind of shocking, right? Just from a pure player standpoint, like, aren't you following the league? Don't you realize this has been a big topic of conversation for the last 3-4 years? That is surprising for guys that, are in the NFL and seem as dedicated as a guy like Kyle Juszczyk.
And another reason for the Chiefs to be sensitive to the issue, they were burned by it in the 2018 AFC Championship when they went to overtime with the Patriots. The Patriots won the coin toss, went down the field and scored a touchdown. Right. Didn't spark an outcry then. The 2 times that Tom Brady scored a touchdown in overtime on the first drive of a postseason game, nobody said boo. When it happened and benefited the Chiefs, then let's go change the rule. Yeah, then let's go change the rules. It's kind of so it's something that the Chiefs have reason to be aware of more than the 49ers.
Right.
And it comes down to how much you've only got so many hours in the 2-week window. How much time do you devote? Maybe Kyle Shanahan of the 49ers looked at it as, hey, if we get to overtime with the Chiefs, that's a good problem to have. We'll figure it out when we get there. But the idea of having it planned all the way down to, we want them to have the ball first, and if they score a touchdown and we match it, we're going to go for 2, and this is the play we're going to use. That's one of the things where, analytics needs to take a back seat to the reality of it. That's one of the things Sean Payton has said on this program in the past. Okay, it's time to go for 2. Well, what play do we have? Do we feel good about it? Have we already used our goal line plays? Are we going to use it again? Do we have another one? Did we go, like you said, with Super Bowl 51? They had extra plays to use in that setting if you had to do it. So I think that's important because from an analytics standpoint, look, we know that if you get to sudden death, if the 49ers score and the Chiefs match it and it goes to that third possession, and that's why Kyle Shanahan said he wanted the ball. He wanted the third possession. And as we said yesterday, there wasn't going to be a third possession. Based on the way the Chiefs were talking and the way they had it planned, there definitely wasn't going to be a third possession. They were going to go for it. They were going to win it or lose it on the second possession.
They were going to have power
if you're
of the Chiefs, situation.
Yeah. Right. So it's 67% likelihood of winning when it goes to sudden death on a kickoff. And that's where analytics is very useful. So you can at least have a framework. Oh my God, he said something good about analytics. You can have a framework for your decision-making process. 67% historically is what happens when the team gets the ball from the opponent via kickoff to start a sudden death scenario. So I know I'm looking at 33% likelihood to win if we kick off. What's our likelihood of converting this 2-pointer? It's better than 33%. Let's just do it here. It's easy. It's easy. Have a play ready and do it. And hell, Chris, maybe the play they had ready for the 2-pointer was Tom and Jerry corn dog, ketchup, and mustard.
Yeah, I think I'm glad you brought me there. I think that's exactly right. I think that's why they were calm. They noticed the 49ers were a little flustered, and they had a play that was very similar to what we saw earlier in the drive on the 4th and 1, right? Obviously, they found something schematically with the little run fake to the left, and then Mahomes boots to the right, and somebody comes underneath. I mean, I don't know if we have it. Of course, the touchdown play, but the 4th and 1 run, guys, that was earlier in the drive. I think to your point, they had a wrinkle or something in their playbook that they felt like, wow, okay, wait, they have trouble. So here we go. Way to go, guys. 4th and 1. You can see it's an RPO, right? It's got an option like that. But in a lot of ways, it's the fake run to the left. Somebody comes across the formation, and this time it was Kelsey, right? And then you get to the touchdown that win the football game. It's a similar version of that they obviously felt good about that play, Mike, for sure. Now, the conversation of does it really matter, right? Does it really matter? Is Kyle Juszczyk not going to execute the same way, or Trent Williams, if they know or don't know the rules? I think there's something to be said about that. A lot of players aren't in tune with every facet of the game that way. And I don't know if it necessarily changes the management of the game or how it was played just because, the H-back or fullback didn't realize the rules of the football game. I think that's, fair to argue those points.
But I think the other way to look at it, we're going to hear from Andy Reid in a second about this, but one way to look at it is to say, when you have it planned down to that level and your players know and they're bought in and they're excited, hey guys, here's what's going to happen with this new rule. They had to change it. They didn't change it when we got screwed by it, but they changed it when we benefited from it. So if we win the toss, they get the ball. Because if they score a touchdown, we score a touchdown, we're going all in. I'm telling you now, get ready. We're going to be in Las Vegas, baby. We're going all in. We're going for 2. Get your brain around that. I don't want anybody surprised when I go for 2. You all understand this is what we're doing. This is our little secret, and let's go do it. If it happens. And I think that's just part of the way you give your players ownership of these situations. And it is something you can get excited about, like a trick play they put in. That's one of the reasons why the Chiefs are great. It's not robotic. It's not Stepford Patriots.
Right.
The players have ownership. The players are involved, and they have fun. Oh, isn't it fun to think about winning a Super Bowl with a 2-point conversion? That was their plan. And the only problem is they're so open with it now, Chris. Next time around, there's not going to be any secrets. Next time around, everybody's going to know what the Chiefs are going to do and what the Chiefs prefer in a situation like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're exactly right. That's where, again, gut analytics, if you want to question Kyle Shanahan or anything there, right, is maybe more than anything is just, hey, the gut of, wait, I don't want to give Mahomes all the power in a big situation, right? I think maybe that's the thing you could argue more than anything. I think people are going a little overboard in the criticism of Shanahan and what he did in the rule. I mean, again, I think the analytics even state kicking it off, receiving, it's kind of down the middle from everything I heard from even coach friends who reached out to me and texting yesterday, right? So it's not like it was like, oh, he went against analytics in such an egregious way it was wrong. And then, Mike, I think the other aspect, too, that's fair to at least assess, again, is that their defense was just on a field for a 2-minute CrossFit session right at the end of the regulation. I mean, it was 11 plays of as fast and as intense football as you can get around to where do you want to put your defense out there right away once again? And you kind of had to feel like, hey, Mahomes is hot. Do we just want to give him the ball again? Maybe we take the ball and let them cool off on the sideline. Those would be some things that would be going through my head if I was coaching the 49ers. But, again, Shanahan's the only one that can answer those.
Well, and he didn't say that after the game. When it was fresh, he didn't say, my defense was tired. They were on the play for 23 of the final 31 plays of regulation. He could have said that. The plan going in was, we want the ball because we want the third possession. The thing he didn't know was there wasn't going to be a third possession. That's the trick that the Chiefs had ready for him. Hey, Kyle, you want a third possession? That's never going to happen because we're either going to win it or lose it on the second possession. The other side of this as well, damn it, I had a thought. It's just gone. Oh, it's the whole mindset. That 4th and 1 from your own 34. If you encounter that on the first drive, we talked about this yesterday, you're not going to go for it there. The Chiefs went for it there because they had to. That's the big thing for me. 3-down football versus 4-down football. That's why you kick off to start overtime, so you know exactly what you need. You're not flying blind. And that's why I think, Chris, I would have rather given Brock Purdy the chance to have his moment and beat Patrick Mahomes at his own game. Let Mahomes drive down and score a touchdown. Then we'll be the ones. See, that's the difference between the two teams. The Chiefs have full faith that if the 49ers had scored a touchdown, we drive down, we get a touchdown, we score 2 points, we win a championship. Thank you very much. I don't think the 49ers felt the same level of confidence in their offense that they could answer a touchdown with 8 points.
Well, I think we talked about it yesterday. It puts tremendous pressure on Purdy right off the bat, right? Like, wow, you're down 7 and you got to go down and score a touchdown right here. I think that aspect and also the aspect into the 3 possession thing, of, hey, it's been a field goal game in the fourth quarter. So, we get a field goal, they get a field goal, we get a field goal, we win, right? But you're right. The aspect of not knowing that the Chiefs were like, no, they're not going to be a third drive. We're going for it is really the ultimate power play there that at least the Chiefs have that advantage. Now, I'll disagree with you though, right? Like if the 49ers on the first drive there had 4th and 1 on their own 37 or 38, I think we might have seen something like we saw the Ravens do in the AFC Championship game where they go, whoa, wait, they came out hot. It's 7-0. We can't let them have the ball again right now. We got to go. And knowing Mahomes there, I do think that they probably would have gone for it. We saw Shanahan go for a 4th and 3, earlier in the fourth quarter with the out route to Kittle. I think that's one where he would have known, like, man, I can't just punt the ball back to Mahomes and let him kick a field goal and win the game. I do think he still had the 4th down in his pocket there, at least on their side of the ball there.
The most fascinating question we won't know the answer to is what would the Chiefs have done if they had hit like 4th and 2 from the 8? Would they have taken the field goal? Would they have gone for the first down and eventually the touchdown? Go all in with your season to get that first down. Here's a question that did come up, posed to Andy Reid. What would you have done? Forget about Chris Jones or anyone else talking about it. Here's Reid. What would you have done if you had won the coin toss in overtime?
So that can go either way. So we would have kicked the ball off. The officials actually are on top of it right away. They're on it. There were still a couple seconds on the clock, and we have the extra officials on the sideline, and they were asking me what we would do, and I said we would kick off. Made sure Patrick was on board with it. He was the one who had to go out and do that with the officials. So, and then Dave Tobe making sure that he was there. But that we had already gone through all of that. The advantage of having Mike Frazier is he, like I'm sure their guy does all these studies, and we had it all mapped out. And we were able to cover it with the guys, and so everybody knew. Now, when it happened, with that amount of time on the clock, I think we were all like, "Whoa," So I know what McCole said there. We just had this hard-fought fight, and all of a sudden, it's a walk-off. It's a weird feeling that way.
Yeah, and McCole Hardman later explained that he understood the rules. He was just overwhelmed in the moment because it was so sudden. I think for me, it was like, oh my God, that's it. The game's over. We've been sitting here and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and now the game's over. Just like that, the Chiefs win. There's the confetti. Oh my God. So, and he mentioned Mike Frazier. You've got your analytics guy that runs all those numbers, that has all those scenarios to aid you in the making of your decision. But the one thing you and I talked about yesterday, it's a decision that needs to be finalized in the moment. It feels like both teams had their decisions pre-baked without regard to whatever would have happened in the game.
Right.
And I think that you need to still have that flexibility to change your mind in that spot based upon whatever has happened in the accumulation of the game up to that point.
Yeah, I agree. I can see the way the game played out. Both coaches having that mindset, even if it wasn't pre-planned. I will say that. I could see Shanahan taking that approach, even if they didn't go into the game with that plan. And the same thing for Andy Reid. But, I agree with you in the statement that you got to have a feel for the flow of the game and some of the other circumstances that are going around it. Like we talked about, how do we feel about our defense and how fresh they are right now? How are we feeling right now with how we're moving the ball on the offensive side of the ball? And do we have a grasp of what the other team's defense is doing to us? I think those are all things that, got to be taken into account at the time.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.